This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. The President of Ireland has paid tribute to his country's shared history with Tasmania during a visit to Hobart today. Michael D. Higgins helped unveil a new landmark, a series of statues marking the place where colonial transportees first stepped foot on our state.
Flanked by security and under the watch of police, the President of Ireland was escorted through Hobart's waterfront. In our state as part of the first visit to Australia in someone of his position since 1998. Hundreds turning out for the occasion, marking our ties with Ireland.
That those ties are not merely historic, but are enduring. Thank you so much for officiating with me today.
The President helping unveil a new Hobart landmark, the covers coming off the Footsteps Towards Freedom sculpture installation. Telling the stories of impoverished women and children who were transported here from the other side of the world.
The women and children we're remembering today were just some of the victims of a brutal and brutalising imperial regime that in many respects cared little for human life or dignity.
The statues are modelled on the actual descendants of convicts, including Indiana, who's following in the footsteps of her distant relative, Eliza G., who arrived in Van Diemen's Land at the age of 25.
Learning about my relatives and what they've done and how they come to get here and seeing like the gravestones that they're all at, I've learnt so much.
It was really the models themselves that gave me a sort of different idea each time, because we researched the actual convicts to each one of the girls who was posing.
The statues stand in the very spot where convicts made their first steps in our state more than 150 years ago. And now there's a push for a similar installation on the other side of the journey.
And already there's a talk about a companion piece being put to in the harbour at Dunleary, where the convicts left in Dublin.
The President of Ireland will have dinner tonight at Government House before leaving the state tomorrow morning. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
East Devonport residents experienced a close call last night after a vegetation fire appeared to be a threat to nearby homes. It took firefighters over an hour to contain the blaze, which began behind a caravan park. The Tasmania Fire Service says the cause of the fire is not known. There was no reported damage or injuries. Residents on the eastern shore of Hobart are being urged to check if they need to vote in an upcoming election. Labor's candidate for the Upper House Pembroke by-election says voters have been confused by a recent redistribution of the electorate's boundaries. Parts of Risdon Vale and Otago will be included in November's election before the boundaries are changed in January.
I'm not worried at all that could cost me the election. I think what I am worried about is, having got out and talked to quite a number of people already, that particularly, I guess, elderly residents have raised it with me that they are confused.
More details on the boundaries of Pembroke can be found on the Tasmanian Electoral Commission's website. Tiny trains meticulously made by hand have been showcased at Tasmania's largest model railway show. Modellers from across the country gathered to admire the displays, some worth more than $15,000.
Intricate detail, small towns and old railways, every model different from the other. Proud modellers from every state showing off their talent to other train lovers.
It's a passion, it's a lifetime hobby, and the level of intricacy and the detail that goes into the buildings means that the layouts do take a fair while to build.
Tasmania's biggest ever model railway show is in its second year and proving to be a big hit. This year, models more sophisticated with countless hours put into each.
The last 2.5 months have been pretty chaotic. I've taken a bit of leave from work so I could actually get it finished to bring it here.
David Zeitz from South Australia says it cost him over $10,000 and took almost 14,000 hours to build. It's a passion that takes time and dedication. It also requires attention to detail and a love for trains. Modellers say they hope more children can take an interest in the hobby.
I like olden day stuff and vintage stuff, and I like trains. Because they used to be around and they still are, but very rarely around.
I think all of us today know that our kids spend far too much time on their iPads and iPhones. So if we can get them starting to do some practical skills and infuse them to want to go and do that sort of thing, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
This day and age we're competing with the electronic devices and games because there's so much variety there.
But the main message from today:
the world would be a much better place if more people mucked around with model railways. I'm absolutely sure of that.
The Albert Hall show ends tomorrow. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanians are pounding the pavement to raise awareness of workplace health and safety. WorkSafe Tasmania is encouraging businesses to take on health and wellbeing programs to benefit staff. The number of workplace injuries is declining, but mental health issues are becoming more prevalent. WorkSafe says physical activity can help fight this. They've toured the world, making people laugh, and now the Doug Anthony AllStars are bringing their musical comedy to Launceston. The group has performed at the last 2 Edinburgh Fringe festivals, but say there's nothing quite like a Tassie crowd.
We have had some really good heckle battles with Launceston in the past. I think mainly because they turn up and they just want trouble. Occasionally we've had people come to the shows and not actually know that it's a comedy show.
Anyone wanting to catch the show can head to the Princess Theatre tonight for an 8 p.m. start. Tasmania Police is continuing its search for a missing New South Wales woman. The 51-year-old was last seen paddling a dinghy out from Copper Alley Bay in Leamington, south of Cygnet, around 7 o'clock last night.
The Westpac rescue helicopter attended, another police vessel from town attended, and an extensive search continued.
The vessel was found a short time later, around 3 kilometres from shore, but the woman couldn't be located.
We will continue to search until every last square inch of that area has been searched and searched again, but we have grave concerns for safety.
The search will resume tomorrow. More than 100 volunteers have taken time out of their weekend to help Tasmanians in need. Mexican restaurant chain Sombrero organised a mass packing day for Food Bank, which provides emergency food relief.
Station in there, and they're going like cut cats to try and reach our target of 30,000 meals that we'll pack today.
Food Bank says the relief packs will be in hot demand in the lead up to Christmas. Now to a meal deal that's helping to keep families together in tough times. Volunteers taking time out to help at McDonald's restaurants during the annual McHappy Day fundraiser.
It's absolutely fabulous that McDonald's do this, and it's so important and it's wonderful. People have come, they've been really generous, and they're actually so giving, and it's just a great opportunity to help out.
Looks really good. Sold lots of helping hands, and we're looking at selling a lot of Big Macs today. $2 from every Big Mac goes towards Ronald McDonald House Charities.
Ronald McDonald House Charities aims to raise more than $4 million to help sick children and their families. Despite a disastrous start to their JLT One Day Cup campaign, the Tasmanian Tigers are still a chance to make it through to the finals after securing a bonus point in yesterday's impressive win over the CA11. The squad arrived back in Hobart this morning, with coach Adam Griffith conceding there is still a long way to go.
A baptism of fire for the new Tigers coach, with his side dropping its first 3 matches in Perth, 2 of those by more than 100 runs.
It's a bit of a reality check to the level of some of the players we're playing against, yeah. A little bit concerning, but we knew the processes we were trying to put in place, and it was going to take some time for the guys to trust the new game plan we were bringing in.
That trust paying off when the Tigers finally shook the monkey off the back on Tuesday.
It's a pretty good feeling to get that first one, I won't lie, and against a pretty good team in South Australia.
We knew that if we played our best cricket once we got to Sydney, we could match it, and fortunately enough we did that.
Dunk even surprising himself during the side's second win against the CA11 yesterday, taking 2 for 19.
I honestly did not bowl a single ball for the whole winter. George threw me the ball, so I thought, okay, I'll give this a go.
Benny Dunk, yeah, he hasn't been out of my ear the last couple. He did it against South Australia as well.
George Bailey starring with the bat to date, notching up his highest ever score for Tasmania yesterday with 126.
It's only my personal opinion, but I'd certainly love to see him back in green and gold, and I'm sure if he continues the way he's going, there'll be no excuses.
Against the odds, the Tigers now find themselves in with a chance of playing finals, provided they secure a bonus point win in their first home match for the season against Queensland on Tuesday, and a string of other results go their way.
That's been the talk, not because of what can happen, but just simply to get out in front of our home fans here on Tuesday night against Queensland, and it'll be exciting.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. A fine and sunny day across most of the state today, with Fingal hitting the state's high of 20. Hobart and Burnie not far behind on 19, 18 for Launceston and Devonport just 15 degrees. Temperatures were generally within a degree or two of average today. Wynyard 19, Friendly Beaches 18, 17 at Maria Island, St Helens and Bushy Park, Strawn and Grove both 16, Lowhead, Flinders and King Islands all 15, and 15 was also the high today for Lyawini. Looking at the satellite, we can see an extensive mass of cloud extending west of Tasmania over the Bight and to the southwest of WA ahead of a frontal cloud band. Middle and high level cloud streams eastward across the Coral and Tasman seas. The close-up shows low level cloud across the west with high level cloud streaming over the rest of the state. Tomorrow's chart shows that broad area of high pressure over the southeast extending a ridge into central Australia. The remainder of the mainland, mainly coastal waters, is dominated by troughs of low pressure, and a cold front lies well to the southwest. A look at coastal waters now. West to northwesterly winds reaching 25 knots about the north and 30 knots about the south until late afternoon. Seas 1 to 2 metres, reaching 3 metres in the south. A strong wind warning is current for southern coastal waters from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Sunshine on the way in the south of the state tomorrow. 21 for Hobart, 22 at Richmond and ooze 20 degrees. Mostly sunny conditions in the north, with Launceston expecting 23, Devonport 18 and 22 for Deloraine. Not as much sun for the northwest, with 19 and partly cloudy in Burnie, Strawn 16 with drizzle expected, and possible morning drizzle for Curry 14. To the east, and a sunny day for St Helens 21 degrees, 22 and sunny for Swansea, Whitemark 17 and mostly sunny there also. The UV is mostly 6s and 7s, which is high across the state tomorrow. Looking to Monday, fine conditions across the state with warm northerly winds and afternoon coastal sea breezes. Tuesday looking fine across the state also, and Wednesday fine apart from a chance of showers in the west during the evening. And the weather is warming up across the country with sunny conditions expected for Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Canberra and Sydney. Rain at times for Brisbane 21, Cairns 31 and Darwin 33, both with possible showers, and a sunny 30 degrees for Alice Springs. Currently it is 16 in Hobart and clear, Launceston 15 and clear, Devonport 13 and clear. And Rachel, there's plenty of sunshine on the way, so hopefully you get to enjoy some time at the beach before the kids are back to school.
Yes, it's certainly lovely seeing the sunshine, that's for sure. Thank you for that, Carmen. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening. Good night.